Everybody?
Yes.
Good afternoon to everybody. Yes, today we will start with the new topic, that is principles of inheritance and variation. So this is the topic. CIPLES. Principles of inheritance and variation. So this is the topic. So what is meant by inheritance? There are the inheritance means the process of passing the characters. That is the process of passing the characters from generation to generation. So this is, we call them as inheritance. Generally we say that the characters which are resembled to our parents, we have some characters of our parents. So these characters will be passing from generation to generation. That we call them as progeny. We call them as progeny. To the next progeny. Generation to generation. So these characters which will be passing from generation to generation, it has some principles. It has some principles. Principles means there are some principles. And these characters which are with the parents, which are with the organisms, either it may be plants or it may be animals, human beings, all are same. So they will be expressed. The characters which will be expressed. Why I am similar to my parents? Why I am similar to my forefathers? Why I am similar to my grandfather? Why my son is similar to me? So these are there are some characters. Which characters they will be expressed in generation to generation. And this is, we call them as inheritance. Inheritance. So generally we say the hereditary characters are there because of the hereditary characters. Generally we say because of the hereditary characters, so I will be similar with my parents, I will be similar with my grandfathers, I will be similar with my forefathers, their grandfathers or great grandfathers. Why? Because those characters which are expressed in them, they will be carried to the next generation. The next one is the variation. What is meant by variation? Variation means, say for example, a character which is from its parents or its grandfather. So the absolutely all the characters will not be inherited. All will not be transferred. There is a little change. There is a little change that we call them as variation. Change in the characters, that is we call as variation. It may be change due to the environment, due to the change in the environment, due to the change in the. There are so many other factors are there. So because of all these things, there is a little change in the next progeny. So this we call them as variation. So and this generally earlier it was told that it will be named as genetics. It is called as genetics. Genetics means, so these characters which are expressed, there are the hereditary character, they will be expressed. What is that mean? What is meant by that expression? Generally, we say it is due to the hereditary character. Yeah. So the expression is nothing but it is expressed in the form of proteins. In the form of proteins. Usually, these characters which will be expressed in the form of proteins. So those proteins which are responsible for our character. So there are two types of proteins we find. That is structural proteins and functional proteins. There are two types of proteins will be expressed. Means the characters which are there with the parents, they will be expressed in the form of either maybe structural protein or maybe functional. Structural protein means it is responsible for the formation of the structure of an organism. Structure of an organism. But in case of the functional proteins means the functioning. Various metabolic functioning will be taking place in the organisms, in the plants as well as in the animals. So these metabolic activity, they are the functional physiological functions. Those physiological functions will be responsible with those proteins. Very simple. Generally, when we go to the doctor, say for example, if I am having acidity because my mother or the father they are having acidity. So because that protein, that is our parents were unable to synthesize that particular protein during the digestion. So the same thing I will be carrying. Say for example, when we go to a doctor, when we meet a doctor, then if that for the diabetic, generally they will ask whether your parents are having sugar problem. Like that they will ask. So it's the same one. In general, I am telling this is the functional. That is, your grandfather or father may not be synthesizing that particular protein, so you may not be unable to. So there is every possible. That is there. So now coming to the. So to know these things, there are some technical terms which are very, very important. There are some technical terms are there which are often used in this inheritance, that is in the genetics. Those are very important, so you should be knowing those. These are the basic phenomena, basic important things. Generally, we say there are few are there that I will be giving you a list. That is, first is gene. So this, what is meant by gene? So this gene, Mendel expressed as factor. So on this hereditary, the principles of the hereditary are principles of inheritance. The Mendel, we call them as, he was the father of genetics. He is the father of genetics. Why? Because till today, his laws of hereditary or his principles were existing. Still they are the same, which will be accepted. So this is the Mendel's law. That is the Mendel who was the pioneer, the father of the genetics. he expressed them as a factor. Why he expressed? Maybe because basically the Mendel was a statistics man and he's having the mathematical background. In that way, he might have called them as a factor, but there is no any written evidences on it. So he called them as factor. Factor is a factor. Then what is gene? Gene means, according to an inherited character or factor, inherited factor that determines a biological character of an organism. Called gene. And also it is also called as functional unit of recently. Unit of hereditary material. Hereditary, Hereditary, hereditary material. That is, it has an information required for express a particular character. A particular character. So this is the one. Gene means, what is gene? So now we should be knowing the genes means, already we are knowing that in the cell is having cell wall, cytoplasm, that already we have studied in your first year. Then it has a nucleus and it has a chromosome. And in that chromosome, that is the chromosome, you will have, this is the structure of a chromosome. Just I will try here. It is the structure of a chromosome. So this is the, and here you will find the genes. They are arranged in a linear manner. They are arranged in a linear. That already I have studied. That is nucleosome, nucleus, nucleosome, chromatic material. That, see, now we are discussing it is the how the journey of genetics. That is the how inheritance has started. How the people started thinking about the hereditary character, hereditary. So now we are entering into biotechnology, we are entering into molecule level, nano level, that is different. So how this has started thinking about by the scientists about the genetics, about the genes, the study of the gene, nothing genetic. So what Mendel, he called them as factor. So who was the father of genetics? We say an inherited character, factor means that is the gene, that is a factor which is inherited from generation, that determines a biological character. A biological character of an activity of character of an organism. So if other of an organism called gene. So according to old. Recently, it is a functional unit of hereditary material. Now we are saying that the hereditary material, now we are there at the DNA level. So that is, it is a material which is responsible for the character, that is the, and what is that material? It has an information required for expressing particular character. It has a particular information. See, why I behave like my parents, why I behave like, so every organism is having an information with itself, that is to behave like this. So this information will be expressed. This expression, that is, we call them as the expression, that is the information required to express a particular character. Why I am so tall? Because my forefathers were tall. Why I am very dark, short? Because my forefathers. So that is it. That is the same. That is structural gene. So this is the gene. Gene is a unit of hereditary. See, listen here. One more thing I am telling you. These definitions, all details, just in one line they have given it. But it will be very important in your NEET and also in the CET. They will give you the what is there. So, and to understand the genetic, first you should know what is meant by gene. What is meant by gene. So here, the next one. The other one, what is allele? Very important. There are the terms. These are the technical terms which are used very commonly. Otherwise, we will not understand. Allele or allelomorphs. Allele, A-L-L-E-S. Alleles or allelomorphs. VHS. Batson, the other genetics man. The Batson in the year 1902. As per he explained, that is an alternative character and alternative form of the same gene. A pair of contrasting characters is called alleles. Or allelomorph. Example, capital T, that is tall. Then small t, that is dwarf. Or the alternative form or the alternative alternative form of same gene. So this is alleles. Alleles means generally we say, see, when we talk about that, already might have studied in high school also, in your CBSE also, that is tall, capital T, tall and tall. These are the homozygous alleles are there. Alleles means, what is meant by alleles? Alleles are nothing but they are an alternative form of the same gene. Say for example, this is the capital T is the allele of the capital T, or capital T is the allele of the small t. Both are alleles, and this is also allele and this is also alleles. The one of the same contrasting character, pair of contrasting characters. Contrasting means contrasting color. Contrasting color means which in this population, when we say in a population, a particular character will be appearing very much dominant, appears very much in all the plants, in all the animals. So that character we call them as contrast. That is the only common character which will be appeared in each and every organism, in each and every plants in a population. So that we call them as contrasting character. That will be there each. Say when there is a painting, will be there. So a particular color will have more contrast, means it will be dominating. It will have more appearance than as compared to others. So this we call them as contrast. That I will explain details when we go to the Mendel's details. Characters there is called alternative. So capital T and small t and small t. Small t they are dwarf, and capital T is star. Or they are the alternate form of the same gene. So the same gene, they are alternate form. That already we are knowing. Usually, sir, you may be asking. So these are the basic informations. The basic information will always be represented in pairs. 2. Why? Because diploid. Diploid means the diploid condition will have always 2. So they will always we have all the sporophytes, that they are diploid in number. So for that reason, we'll be writing them in pairs. We pairs. Next one. The another one, what is meant by allele? There is alleles and allele. Alleles are allelomorph, both are same. Allele, that is also I'll explain. Now I will draw the figure, then I will explain you. Then next one is allele. A gene which codes for pair of contrasting characters. Pair of contrasting characters. called allele. Or alleles or allele. Pair of contrasting character. Say for example, this time explain. Say about, for example, there is a chromosome and there are a pair of chromosomes are there. Already the human being will be knowing 23 pairs of chromosomes we have. Same in the plants also, in the onion it will be 16. So there is a pair of chromosomes will be there. Say for example, see this is the one gene and this is the other gene. This is we call them as allele. It expresses the character. Which character? The tallness. Which codes for a tallness? Codes means it has a information. That information which express the expression of the character, we call them the information of the character, we call them as code. That we discuss them in the biotechnology, in the protein synthesis also. So this is we call them as code. That it particularly that it has a information to express in the form of tallness. These two are the alleles. So this is we call them as in case of the tau. So these are the alternate characters of the same. This one of the same, that is the contrasting, the pair of contrasting characters. In case of the dwarf, so there is here also there will be two genes, that is the two chromosomes. So there are the two genes they express for the small t in case of the dog. So these two are the alleles. See this in here, very important. These things, this information now I am explaining you very clearly. Don't confuse them. Always and these what are the information? These are the basic things what today I am explaining you. You should keep it memory in your always when we will be expressing, when we are studying about these principles of inheritance. Very important, because these two are the alleles and these two are the alleles. Why they are there? Why it has been same allele? Why Mendel has called them as allele? Because they are present at the same loci. Loci means the position of the gene at on the chromosome. We call them as locus. We call them as locus or loci. So they are there in the loci. So the gene, Mendel has made them as allele. He called these genetic people, they call them as alleles. Say for example, a gene which is present here, and in the dwarf also it will be same. And so the capital T and small t is also allele, and capital T is also allele, and small t is also allele. Why? Because they are there at the same loci. It's very important. Same loci. It's the position. Say for example, the Mendel didn't made them a gene which is present here on the gene another and this one present. Both them didn't make them as alleles. Didn't make them as alleles. Why? We'll explain it. We'll discuss in the data. So he made, if it is there in the same loci, then only he called them as alleles. So that is in which codes for a pair contrasting character. This also expressed for a particular contrasting character. This also expressed for a particular contrasting. Very important. Usually we have a lot of confusion. Generally we say both are the alleles. Alleles means what is meant by allele means at the same loci. The next one. Next is the first then is the gene locus. Just know what I have told you, gene locus. It is a specific position it is a specific place or position, specific place on chromosome where gene is located. Just know what I explained you. Means it is a specific place. Just I have explained you that is on the chromosome. It will have a particular place. This place we call them as locus. If a particular gene is there, present here, this is the gene of, this is the locus of that pathology. This is the locus of that color gene. This is the locus of that, say, other different. So if it is the locus, means it is the place where the gene is located. That is called as locus. That is called as gene locus. Next one is homozygous. So what is meant by homozygous? By Batson and Sanders. In the year 1902, they expressed both the genes of a character are identical. That is very important. I will explain you first. Identical CAL is said homozygous. Or genetically similar. Genetically pure for that character. It gives, very important, it gives rise to the offspring having same character. That is having same character on self-breeding. On self-breeding. on self-breeding. Example, capital T, capital T. That is homozygous. Small t, small t. Now I will explain you. Very important. So these are the terminologies. Until the entire genetics we will discuss what is the homozygous character, heterozygous character, pure breeding. I mean, then there are different types of the. So these are the technical terms. So homozygous means both the genes. So we are knowing it. What is meant for both the genes are similar dynamic. So you have to express in a correct manner. What is homozygous? It will be for one more question. It will be asked in the exam also 1 or 2 marks for questions. Both the genes of a character means both the genes, these two of a character are identical. Both are identical. Is said to be homozygous. Both are similar, we call them as homozygous. If both are dissimilar, we call heterozygous. That I will explain. Homozygous. They are genetically pure. Means genetically pure. Pure means that is the one. What is the pure breeding? Pure means for that character it gives rise to the offspring having the same character for self-breeding. Say for example, the pure breeding means they are totally pure. This one, these two are homozygous means. Say for example, if you allow them for self-breeding, self-pollination, for generation to generation, 5 gen, 8 gen, 15 gen, 8 gen, 10 gen, 12 gen, 15. So they will have the same character. If it is a dog, the dog will be expressed. If it is a dog, the dog will be expressed in all the generations. Then only we call them as pure breeding. In case of the animals, also same one, pure breeding or impure breeding. That is the homozygous means this is the one. Homozygous. So gene locus means it is a specific place where the gene is present on the chromosome, and homozygous is the identical. Both the genes are identical, then we call them as homozygous. Next one. That again I will explain you what is capital T and what is small t. In the next I will explain you. In the next one again, that is these are the important terminologies. Very, very important. Unless and until if you are not knowing the meaning of these things, the genetics will become very hard. You will not understand it. Why it will be? Because it has a little mathematical background. That I will answer. Now next one is heterozygous. Very simple, very, very easy. It is not so hard. It is very easy. If you understand genetics correctly, then it is very easy for your next biotechnology, protein synthesis, everything it will be basic one, informal. What is meant by heterozygous? Both the characters, see, the definition I have to write in a correct manner. Otherwise, we can write heterozygous means if both the genes are dissimilar, we call heterozygous. It is a very common one. But in a specific manner, in a correct manner, we have to write both the genes of a character are not identical. This is one. Are not identical. See, this is the one. Not identical. But in case of homozygous, they are identical. But here, they are not identical. Of a character are not identical. Called heterozygous. or hybrid. Such organisms, so this is the definition. Now next little explanation. Such organisms if identical, homozygous. If not identical, heterozygous. Such organisms on selfing or inbreeding self-breeding or selfing or inbreeding or self-breeding fertilizes or fertilization on fertilization does not breed the offspring. This is the one. Offspring of true breed of breed. Or not true breeder in the progeny. Example, capital P, small d. Capital P, small d. So this is the one. So very important. Heterozygous means both the genes. Both the genes. They are not identical. Heterozygous, so they are not hybrid. Such organisms on selfing and self-pollination or inbreeding or self-breeding, on fertilization does not breed the offspring of the true breed. Means it doesn't have the same true breeding. Means on self-pollination or self-breeding, they will give differently. Not the parental one. There is a mixture. Only one character will not be expressed. Both the character will be expressed. So that we call them as heterozygous. We call them as heterozygous. So they will not true breeder in the progeny. The progeny means in the next generation, the same character will not be expressed. Say for example, if the tall capital T is there, only capital T will not be, so it will be mixture. So that is called heterozygous. Now you will be understanding, you will be knowing what is meant by homozygous and what is meant by heterozygous. The next one is dominant allele and recessive. This is what we call them. What is meant by dominant? Dominant means a character which expresses is called dominant. But now we have to write in a systematic manner the definition. Dominant allele. Allele. What is meant by dominant? It is one of the factor of an alleles alleles pair which expresses which expresses itself either present in the homozygous or heterozygous condition. Example, tallness. Round. Example, round. See this one. What is meant by dominant? In case of dominant means it is one of the factors. When there will be two factors will be there, capital T, or capital T, small t, whatever it may be. So one of the factor will be of a pair will be expressed itself, either present in homozygous or heterozygous. Say for example, in homozygous means capital T, the T will be expressed. One T. In case of the heterozygous means here only this will be expressed. This is the dominant. One of the character will be expressed, not both. If it is in homozygous condition, anyone, that both are the tall. Say if it is in heterozygous condition, one of the character will be expressed. This is this. If this is expressed, then we call dominant. And if it is this is expressed, then we call recessive. Then next we call the recessive. The F1 hybrid that will be dominant. That's the again the details again there is a Mendel's law of dominance that I will explain what is meant by law of dominance. Dominant means in any one of the character will be expressed in the pair of the alleles. It is the factor. The one of the character will be expressed either it may be homozygous or it may be heterozygous. So one of the character will be expressed. So that is called as, say for example, if it is expressed, then we call it is a dominant. If it is expressed, then we call this dominant. Okay, that is we call them as dominant. Next one is yes. Only. Okay. Yes. In the next class, the remaining part we'll discuss in the next class, next hour. Okay, tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Sorry,